Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You are on the sidelines with the sideline guys. And today I have the pleasure of being joined by my brother in arms, the pod father himself, the reason why we are all here today, my guy, Derrick Myers. How's it going, brother?
All is well, bro. How you doing, man?
Honestly, bro, I'm heartbroken. Like, let's start right at the top, bro. I
Yeah,
hate
yo
I hate
for it,
my
man.
life a little right now, but we have positive things to look forward to, right? So that's
Yes,
all that
sir.
matters, right? We gotta embrace the things that matter in life. And God damn it, this matters to me.
Yes,
But
sir.
I'm gonna move on. It's okay. You're gonna see more about how I feel and the shambles I'm in right now. But I'm glad to hear you're doing well, right? You got a lot to look forward to this week. So all positive here at
Yes,
OTS.
sir. Yes, sir.
So Derek, why don't you off the top just let the people know where they could find you?
Yeah, you can follow me at Derrick_OTS. That's DERRICK. The black way to spell it. Going into Black History Month.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got a week, but I love it. We starting early, baby.
Yeah.
Why
Well, we
not?
might
They
not
try to
have
give
it
us the
anymore after Trump. We
oh,
might not have that.
true.
That might go away. I ain't gonna lie.
Damn.
This might be the last one.
Oh, right, damn. Yeah. And shit. Somehow they'll make the month even shorter at this point. Yeah, we
Right,
we
right, right.
we got to
It'll
celebrate
be
while we can. You right? I
February
ain't
will be
gonna
two
rescind
days.
that. There will never be a Groundhog Day again under my rule. Who knows? Maybe that's the next announcement we get. But if you're interested, if you're excited, you can find me at Negron MMA on Twitter as well as TikTok, which is unbanned, baby.
Hey,
We're back.
hey
It was
back,
pandemonium for like 5 minutes, and
bro.
everything all figured itself out. Shout out to the Flappy Bird days, right? This reminded me of that, right? Where people are here selling phones, right? I got a phone that got TikTok on it still. It's
Bro.
crazy.
I was so pissed because I had Flappy Bird still on my phone, and I had to transfer phones. What, a year ago? Lost it.
No way. You would
It
think it would carry over.
it didn't. For some reason that one didn't carry over. So Flappy Bird is gone.
Damn, bro. I'm so you might have been the last Mohican for real. You
I
might have
may
been the
have
last
been.
one,
I
yeah.
may have been. They might. I think I saw something about them might be bringing it back. So
Bro,
it's
there's like thousands of spin-offs too.
yeah, yeah. I want the OG.
Yeah, for real. I need that yellow bird that's
Yeah,
looking real sad. Shout out. Love how we got on this tangent here. But
yeah.
while we still got your attention, while we're on our last brain cell, ladies and gentlemen, why don't you make sure you're following the brand at OTS Media Co. on all social media platforms, OTS Media on YouTube, so you never miss one of the amazing, thoughtful, and sometimes self-incriminating episodes of the Sideline Guys and all the other awesome shows we got at the OTS network. But with all of the pleasantries out the way, we are here for another NFL edition of the show, and it's only right we start off with our headlines for the week. And this one's a part two from last week. Caleb Williams gets his wish, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes,
Ben
sir.
Johnson has officially been hired as the head coach of the Chicago Bears. Now, right off the top, just got to ask you, Derek, is this the way the Chicago Bears find themselves getting out the depths of hell? Is this the bridge to Terabithia, Derek? Is this the answer that this organization has been begging for centuries?
Nah, they might be going to another sector of hell. Like this is gonna. I ain't gonna lie, bro. If you to me, and we discussed this last week, the whole idea of having an offensive coach throws me off. I get it, but I don't at the same time. The only way that I think I could see it working is if they build that lineup. I was kind of wondering why they didn't try and go get Aaron Glenn. I like that one would have probably been a better option to me. Just based on needing that defensive approach to things. But look, I hope it works out for them. I will say he better not try and do what he did in that last game, bro. That trick play was trash.
Shout out JMO, right? I'm sure he was hype he got that moment, but yeah, terrible.
Yeah, but that was not it. That was not it.
And bro, the urgency of it too, like, we could have
Yeah,
gotten so much more done with a lot of simple shit.
bro. If you're gonna bring that play out, do that in the regular season, not when your season is literally on the line. Don't do that in those moments. I mean, if it worked, it would have made it would have been a Sports Center top 10. So,
Yeah.
like I get it, but just don't do that in Chicago, bro. Like
Hey, I don't
you
know,
do not
maybe
have that team to do that.
I was about to say, maybe it was a Jared Goff problem, right? Maybe maybe they're like, "You know what? We need somebody else to throw
Get
it out
someone
here.
else.
Why not?" Yeah, man, I don't know. I
Yeah,
am not completely negative about this move. I think that this can be positive for them, especially going forward.
yeah,
But I'm just a little concerned about this franchise. Like, it's not the individual at this point. I just
yeah,
think there's so much history of things going wrong. Obviously, it's easy to say, the Bears gonna Bears, right? But the Bears used to be an organization, right? We used to be a country, and now we are so far removed from that identity. And like you
yeah,
said, they were always known as like a defensive organization, and this is entirely abandoning that. I think it makes sense though, right? You draft a
yeah.
franchise player, you want to cater to what they want, and also you want to cater to what needs to be addressed. Like I think their defense, although at the end of the season it entirely fell apart, I think they have individual players on defense that can get the job done. It's just a
Mhm,
matter of putting the body of work out there for a whole season. Now, the offense, on the other hand, was absolutely atrocious, and everyone wants to point to, Caleb took all these sacks. Caleb took all these sacks. The line is also terrible, and I know everyone says, "Hey, but sacks are a quarterback stat. It's on the quarterback." No, no, no.
mm,
Watch this line, please, because shout out to we'll probably get to it more, but there was that one play where one of the I think it was Rosengarten got
mhm,
pushed a step back, and
mhm.
then Lamar ended up tripping on his foot.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
very similar scenario every play. Like that's
yeah,
how it's like for like the entire Bears line is getting pushed back. So
yeah,
um, I think offensively scheming some different movement around and all the really fancy stuff they've been doing in Detroit, I think is something that could really work. I think something to keep an eye on for this draft. Probably going to get a second running back, right? We're probably going to be on that trajectory. So keep your eye out. This is probably the best running back class we had in a couple years. So
mhm.
um, something to forecast there. But ultimately, right, gun to your head, let's say this move gets done right now. I don't think this gives them 2 wins more than they had last year. I think we gotta fix a lot
Yeah.
more other things first.
Yeah, no, with especially with that line. Yeah, like, I don't see them doing much at all this year. I mean, it sucks, and I really feel bad for DeAndre Swift, bro. Like,
Because he had a great year despite all the
yeah,
bullshit, so
surprisingly. Yeah, but who knows? Get that line fixed.
yeah. Yeah, something we tell guys every year, right?
Right.
This is also a very good draft for the offensive guards, tackles, so
Yeah.
interesting developments to be seen. Next up, the Patriots have hired Josh McDaniels as the offensive coordinator. You did not read that wrong. He is back in the role that made him a head coach. um, Obviously, it was an absolute shit show in what was originally Oakland and turned into Vegas. Um, there was a lot other reasons why that whole experiment went wrong too, but the fact that this man, no disrespect, still has this level of acclaim, right? And Eric Bieniemy is out of a job. It's crazy to me, right? It's crazy to me because it's been pointed to Josh McDaniels to you are the problem.
Yeah.
And now, hey, familiar. I guess that's what it is, right? Sometimes you got to take back that toxic ex, right? Sometimes it feels better to bring them back home.
Have you ever done that?
Never, never.
I've never done that, bro. I like no. Once it's cut off, cut it off. Like you made a very valid point. I don't see how he gets a job over being to me. I really don't get it. I don't know, man. I like if it works out, it works out. But are we okay? let me ask you this: the offense does what a lot of people in New England are hoping that it does. Let's say they go out and get some really nice pieces to complement the offense right now, right? Let's say they play significantly better this year. Are we looking at Vrabel for making that happen or McDaniels
Honestly, wait for
for the
this hire.
offense? For the offense being better this coming season. I'm just saying, let's just for hypothetical reasons, let's just say that they hit in free agency, they do well in the
They get
draft.
T Higgins, right? That'd be great.
Yeah, yeah, they get some players like that. Build that offensive line the way they want it done, right?
Mhm.
Are we giving credit to Vrabel or McDaniels?
That's a great question, man. I think that's the issue in general with the perception of what a head coach is, because no
Right,
matter what, you're looked at or pinned as you're the defensive or the offensive guy, right?
right.
We were even talking about it last week with Robert Sala, right? You're known as
Mhm,
this defensive guy, but your defense was doing this. It's like no matter what, you're going to look at it that way.
mhm.
But I think ultimately the credit should be given to the person that's in charge, right? And I think
Right,
I would say if the offense is humming, you got to give props to both, right?
right,
But I think generally, though, it is very much so a segmented league. Like what it means to be a head coach isn't necessarily that you're the helm of every part of this team, right?
right, right, right.
So I think that's all a perspective thing. But I think ultimately, though, no matter what, if this offense does well next year, I won't be surprised, even if they don't necessarily make large flashes because they got a lot of players that are in a position to get a bump up this year. So
Mhm.
yeah, man, I think both of these guys are in an interesting spot because they both have very bad reputations coming into
Yeah,
this job. And
yeah,
the
yeah,
fact that they both find themselves here at the Patriots it's kinda wild, bro.
yeah,
It's kinda like the person calling the shots for the Patriots right now just kinda chilled on the NFL for a couple years. Like, he was like, "Hey, you know what? After COVID, they started fucking kneeling. I'm not interested," right? They took a little break, and then finally, they were at Cancun, and unfortunately, their stepson decided, "Hey, I'm moving back. I'm moving back home. You
yeah,
actually have to do your job now. I'm not doing your job for you anymore." He's like, "Ah, fuck. All right, we gotta hire some new folks. Let's get
yeah.
let's get the goats of 4 years ago." That's definitely what this feels like.
Hey, man, if McDaniels gets another head coaching job off of this,
Hey, Ron Rivera's next. Let's fucking go.
yeah. Let's just see. Let's just see. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I will say though, if anybody here is getting fired first, it's gonna be Josh. It's not gonna be Vrabel. I
Yeah,
anticipate that one happening. But
yeah,
our next headline will probably lead us into my depression, right? But it's
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
The Bills fans donated as a collective over $60,000 to Mark Andrews' charity for trying to find research on the cure for type 1 diabetes, something that he deals with, something that I think a lot of people in America specifically, but across the world, have family members that deal with this. So
Mhm.
shout out to Mark Andrews and what he's doing in that capacity. Shout out to Bills Mafia. I think generally the fact that they always right are doing stuff like this,
Yeah,
rallying around different guys and different causes as a fan base, kind of makes me a fan, right? That's why I threw up the "Let's Go Bills" this week,
yeah,
right? I want the Chiefs to lose, so why not, right? Why not? Everyone assumes I'm a Ravens fan after last week. I'm gonna just be like, hey, fuck these guys. I ain't even mad at you, right?
yeah,
This is
yeah,
us at this point. This is us. That's how I'm taking this on the chin.
yeah.
So I just thought this was a really cool storyline. Why aren't all fan bases this bright, Derek? I gotta ask.
I'm be honest with you, I don't know. I think there's a certain level of appreciation that I think certain fan bases have for football in general. You can tell which ones are just football fans. It's either you're a fan of just this one team or you're a fan of the sport and humanity. And the Bills are that are an example of a fan base. Bills Mafia is a example of a fan base that is more than just the Bills. They respect football in general. So, you know, hats off to them for doing that. I think that's a great thing. I saw something like this exact last week too with the with Eagles doing the same thing for the Rams. Well, not this, but donating for toward the fires and stuff like that. So I think it's cool when fan bases in general can still just show support to other teams and stuff that they have going on in their respective cities like that. I think that's a great thing. So shout out to Bills Mafia. That's a great move. That's a great
Mm.
move.
Yeah, the one thing that unites us all as fans is our humanity. God damn it,
Right,
and
right.
that's surprising for a lot of fan bases. But it's only right we move on to our side note, and I think this could lead to our greater discussion of this game. But
Yes.
our side note for this week is from Chris Sims on the Up and Adams show. Shout out K Adams. That's another strange phenomenon we could get into another
Yeah,
day, but
yeah,
we ain't even
yeah,
gonna get into that today. Today
yeah.
we are going to be discussing his quote, which was as follows. So throw it, throw it. It's too late. Lamar Jackson is making 55 million a year. That ball needs to be on time, and it was not accurate. Mark Andrews needs to catch it. Don't get me wrong. But Lamar Jackson's making 55 million a year. He double clutched it and threw it like a dart. So I gotta ask you, Derek, right off the top, was that 2 point conversion play that decided the game? Was that a bad throw by Lamar Jackson?
Nah, I mean, like it was right there. That was a catchable ball. I can see the a slight hesitation at first on the pump. Like I can see that slightly. I didn't see the double pump thing. That's one. I mean it's a mad pause, but
Yeah,
I didn't see that. I saw
he wasn't
fake.
pump watching. I
Right, yeah. It was subtle. It wasn't even like he literally just brought it, like, went up and then no brought it back, and it was like he literally just made sure he was measuring it properly and threw the ball. I think the crazy thing about Chris Sims and other analysts like him, yeah, you know what? This is what pissed me off about a lot of people analyzing the games over the weekend because we had two games that were with snow, right? With these snowy elements. And I feel like there wasn't a great appreciation for that in general. Um for all four teams. What all four teams had to deal with in those conditions, I feel like there were a lot of people that were analyzing the game from the perspective of perfect conditions and like, oh my god, he didn't catch that. Should Mark Andrews have caught the ball? Yes. It was catchable. It's not like it wasn't. But can we take into consideration that these people are playing on ice? Like, was
and he
that
clearly slipped as well.
he clearly slipped? Is that not into like, are we not taking that into consideration?
Yeah.
That's why for me, I was wondering why you just didn't run Derrick Henry straight up and right for it. That was my question for it. Not you know, is it because Lamar is getting paid what he's getting paid, he didn't you question the throw. Like, so if he's not getting paid 55 million a year, like he shouldn't make the pass? Like I'm I don't know. I don't know. Chris Sims is a wild boy. Like
So I love that you brought up that point because I didn't even really think about it in that way, right? Whenever I was thinking about this play,
Mhm.
because when I saw, and he even talks about this too in that segment, like
Yeah.
when I saw the play design, it was a perfect play. Shout out Tom Monkey. That was a
Yes, it
perfect
was
play
great.
because you
Yeah.
saw how much they loaded the box. They thought Derrick Henry was coming.
Yes.
That's why I love everything about that play.
Yes.
But Listen, I'm gonna be real here. We gotta be real. Mark Andrews, there was a period there where listen, I'm gonna pull up this message, right? I'm gonna pull up this
Mhm.
message because this got really heated, and I had to tell my friend this because I was like, you know what? I was like, take him out to the back shed. You know what I'm saying? Take him out to the back shed because we got somebody else that's better. We got, and then I
Yeah, yeah,
said
yeah.
this is very crass, but I'm gonna say it again. I said, we got Gronk Hernandez likely on our team. And then somehow we're still throwing this guy the ball. But all jokes aside, in all seriousness, I love Mark Andrews. Shit happens, right? He had a fumble in this game as well, which is why everyone is pointing to this. I think that play is a defensive play. Shout
It
out. I
was.
thought that was just an amazing punch out, right? There's a lot of things he should have done before that play even happened. For example,
Right.
he did not run towards the end zone. He ran towards the left hash to try to get more yards when he
Yeah.
could have just went down. I mean, we already had the appropriate momentum to
Yeah.
get the lead. We were already past the halfway point. And
Yeah.
he's like, you know what? I'm about to get another 80 yarder because he's done this all year.
Yeah.
I get it, but also when you're playing in the snow, you can't do shit like that.
You can't do it.
And
No.
we got burned for it. They punched the ball away, and then obviously that final play, which ended it all, which puts all the blame on Mark Andrews' shoulders. I think I'd love to have him back next season. I think he is such a great blocker for us, and that
Yeah.
part always gets ignored, despite the fact that he also had 10 touchdowns during the regular season. Like this guy does a lot for us, so don't
Yeah.
just completely write him off. But I think this is where my cope comes in, Derek. But this the reality of the last 2 seasons for me has been just frustration because we're better than these guys, man. Whether it
Yeah. We
was the
definitely are.
divisional round against the Chiefs last year or now this, we outplay these guys, man. Well,
Mhm.
we outplayed the Chiefs last season. Down the stretch, we outplayed this Bills team. There was literally not a pulse from the offense in the second half.
Mhm.
And obviously, shout out to Josh Allen. Everyone talks about how, he was the real MVP. We kept the guy at 142 yards. Like we did everything we needed to do to win this game,
Mhm.
despite putting ourselves in the worst position possible. I told everyone that would listen, I thought we didn't even have the right to be in the discussion to be in this game because of the way the first half went.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
the fact
Yeah.
that we were there down the stretch, like, listen, I say this all the time on this show. There's nothing worse as a fan than hope, right? The dream that hope can sell you. And
Mhm.
that's why this loss hurts more. But ultimately, I felt we deserved to lose this game after the first half. And the
Mhm.
fact that we've outplayed this team after that and still wasn't able to come up with what we needed, it just hurts, bro. And I think ultimately, yes, the answer is we need to clear up these things. We need to be cleaner on offense, less turnovers, less penalties to put ourselves in the best position possible. But that's been the narrative for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So we're back at square one all over again. And it's fucking dizzying, man. I'm tired of finishing these games and being like, yo, we're clearly the better team, but we just can't find a way to get it done.
So yeah, that's the one thing that I don't know. I know there's some guys that are not gonna be coming back, obviously, next year. But the one thing about this, I think the crazy thing about it is I would more so point at play calling than anything else with this game, to be completely honest with you. I think, not utilizing Henry enough, right? I think he got like 16 touches, if I'm not mistaken. Like that was the that was the main reason I chose the Ravens in this game, right? Is because the run game I was thinking is what's going to take them past the Bills in this, especially in that environment. Um and I don't feel like that was done enough. Now, I will tell you, I do actually look at the first fumble with Mark Andrews more. I look That felt more egregious than this one. This one is like, you know, everything was in perfect play. To be completely honest with you, he slipped. Like,
Bro, this is how sad this is. I'm gonna be honest, right? Shout out to self-incrimination. I was watching an illegal stream, right? Because where I am right now, for whatever reason, I would imagine it's Bill's Mafia. My antenna for the CBS only did not work. Every other channel worked. So I couldn't watch this game. So I had it on a stream. And bro,
okay.
literally as soon as the pass went up, it was in Andrew's hands and the stream froze. And I lost it like we won. I lost it like we won, bro. I thought we won. We didn't win, but we tied up the game, right? We brought it back. And then, bro, I reload the stream and they're in victory formation. Bro, the pain, the pain.
Dang, bro. All right. Yo, that's wild. Okay, let me ask you this then. What do you as a fan think can be adjusted for next year? Because to be completely honest with you, I can't point at one thing to say, okay, this is exactly like outside of play calling. I can't look at your roster and say, oh, you need to go replace this guy for this guy. Like I don't know. I don't see it. I personally don't see it. I think that's I need you to tell me what needs to be done with this team to get you over the hump. Because to be completely honest, with you, I told you last week, I see the Ravens and Bills battling out for the AFC Championship for at least the next 3 years. So this is just the one, you know, where y'all took that L, but I could see the AFC Championship going through those two teams for the next 3 years.
Yeah, man, me too. And I thought about this a lot over these last 2 days. And I think the answer that I finish upon is we just need some synergy, right? We need to run this back again. We need to get these
Hmm.
same guys back
Yeah,
and then be consistent, right? From the beginning of the season to the end. Let's see what our defense can be if we're consistent with the
yeah,
guys
yeah,
that we had playing in the second half, right? Let's see if our offense can stay consistent. I think ultimately there's a lot of guys that are untouchable at this stage. I think Bateman is untouchable. I think
yes.
Bateman is a better 10 times a better receiver than anyone gives him credit for. I think he is probably the most underrated player in the NFL. And that's not even me just being a
Hmm.
Ravens fan.
Hmm.
I'm a big analytics guy, and I think all of his metrics are just insane, right? The amount of time that he spends open, keep that man on the team no matter what.
Yes.
Um, it's going to be great to have Zay Flowers back. I think ultimately there's a big hole on the edge, right? We'd love to have a better edge rusher. We'd love to have certain things filled up on the defensive line. But ultimately,
Hmm.
though, I think it's just about let's get these same guys in here.
Hmm.
Let's calm the fuck down, right?
Yeah.
Let's stop with the being 5 plays ahead of where we are right now. I think we started that game awesome. And
Hmm.
then the 2 turnovers back to back, you cannot say that that did not matter because
Yeah.
ultimately that's what's sold us the game. I can
Yeah.
say that as a Ravens fan, the turnovers killed us. If we had one of those back, we win this game.
Hmm.
So, yeah, man, there's no doubt in my mind that Lamar Jackson is the best player in the NFL right now, and I think this game showed that. I think even after making those mistakes, his ability to make those plays, right? And this is the guy who has been the Pat Mahomes dick rider on this show for the
Yeah.
last 3 years. I
Yeah.
am sincere in saying I think Lamar Jackson is number one, and he should be number one in the top 100 after this season.
Hmm.
I'm firm in that now. But um, despite that, what kills my Ravens are the penalties and the turnovers. So the only
Yeah.
way to fix that is consistency, and it looks like we're probably going to lose Todd Monken, and he's going to end up being a head coach somewhere. So synergy is not going to be easy to come by.
That was the one thing that I thought was it made the most sense. He needed to get some looks at head coaching positions. But if I'm honest with you, with the vacancies that are out there right now, Why would you leave Baltimore? Like, to be honest, I don't see it. Especially if you're able, like, you got Lamar Jackson there. I don't see another free spot right now that has as good of a quarterback right there. I wouldn't leave if I were him. But I mean, money talks. So that's ultimately what's going to decide that. Um, I will say though, I think this weekend has been a proving point for the NBA, the NFL. I'm a believer that all stadiums should have retractable roofs. If you want to have the best product on your field, and that's what we're always hearing. They want the best product on that field. We cannot have snow. We cannot have these elements in there. And it's gonna sound very um I know that probably sounds very soft in terms of like the history of the NFL, right? But if your ultimate goal is to like, he came out last week confirming everything that we had already talked about with adding another game, right? So you're trying to add more games into this regular season, and you don't have stadiums that are covered. I don't see how you're going to get the best possible product on the field with those two things in play. If you extend this out to 18 games a season and we're in the playoffs with ice, I don't see how you're going to sit there and get the best product. I really don't. As much as I loved watching those two games this weekend, I, I don't see it. I don't see it, to be honest with you. And again, that retroactively, that might sound like a soft take, but they have to, I think having stadiums with retractable roofs actually gives the northern teams an opportunity to host the Super Bowl. Can you imagine what the Super Bowl would be like if it were in Baltimore? If we were
Or in
in
Jersey.
Buffalo?
Right?
Right, like, if we were in Philly, like,
Bro,
how
I
that would
never
look.
realized that that was the reason. I never realized that. That makes a
You have
lot
to
of
have
sense.
shelter.
Yeah.
I like, that would make the most sense. I think you get the most bang for your buck by being able to do that, and the Bills are building a new stadium right now. I really think they should add that retractable roof to it, delay the build, and redesign it because I would love to see the Super Bowl in Buffalo. Like, just imagine what that would be like.
Their fans are fucking insane, bro. Yeah.
Bro, like having Bills Mafia at the Super Bowl would be crazy.
Yeah. I'm not even in Buffalo. I'm a town over. The amount
Yeah,
of jerseys I saw on side was insane, bro.
yeah.
Insane. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you get more. I think you get more if you do that. So I'm like I'm all for, hey, like if it's raining, if it's snowing, whatever, we're playing. I get the mentality, but I think ultimately if you want to have the best games, you have to be able to control the environment. That's what this weekend taught me.
Great shout, bro. I didn't even think about that. And another like great conversation I saw about this was actually Kurt Warner talking about how even as a player, like
Mm,
there's a big difference. People can't
yeah,
say, it doesn't matter. It certainly does. So
yeah, it
and
does.
and honestly, I never felt like that watching the game. Like, I never was like, "Hey, we need to do this more because we're slipping," right?
Yeah,
But then
yeah,
it comes up in the most important play, and obviously the fumble as well. You could argue the elements fully caused that as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So it's
yeah,
tough, man. I would
yeah.
say though, and this is the just most atrocious thing. I just gotta say, of the two snow games, the best development was the Philadelphia Eagles selling snow. Did you see that? Did you see
Yes.
this?
Yes.
How ridiculous is that to
I am
buy?
not buying. That's $50. $50 for snow?
It ain't even going by the time it hits Atlanta,
Gonna be water, bro. Like,
it's
what am
coming
I
out with
gonna do?
water though.
What am I gonna do with a tuba of water?
Hey, take a sip at playoff water.
Bruh,
It'd be
I'm
like a
good.
glacier from Antarctica.
If I'm spending $50 on anything for the Eagles, I'm getting me like a mini helmet or a jersey or something. Like that $50 going towards something. I'm not the snow. Nah, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, you might as well be selling athletes toothpicks at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I
look,
love
we got snow outside right now. I can go put some in. I can go put some in a tube and say it's from the Eagles.
and start selling it. Hey,
Hey,
just wrap it in a fucking Eagles
hey,
box and be
well,
good.
let me go on Amazon real quick.
Get a little discount, right? Now you getting all
Yeah,
the traffic your way.
yeah,
Yeah.
brotherly love.
But it's only right after we, mend my depression a little bit. Thank you, Derek. You
Yes,
made me
sir.
feel a little bit better.
Yes,
It's
sir.
only right we move on to your happiness and your anxiety-filled bundle of joy. We've got the NFC Championship, ladies and gentlemen, the Washington Commanders on the road at the link going up against your Philadelphia Eagles at 3 p.m. on a Sunday. Derek, if I told you 2 weeks ago
Mhm.
that this was going to be the NFC Championship game, what would your response have been to me?
It was going to be the Eagles versus the Lions.
No, 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 no. But I told you already that this is what it's going to be. You,
Oh, like I know, like this is what was happening. Okay. um, I'm just as confident back then as I am right now in the outcome of the game.
oh, I love that. That wasn't even the direction I was going. So why don't you tell us, Derek? How do you feel about this matchup with the NFL's prodigal son, Jaden Daniels, coming over to the link to try to get a dub? How you feeling about your Eagles at home?
I feel great about them, honestly. I think the only thing I think I'm really nervous about in this game is Luvu and his dirty hits. Um, I've seen it already. That's what took Jalen Hurts out the second game. That's what took. I mean, honestly, you know what? I don't even know if if anyone's actually talked about this. The game against Detroit after Luvu hit Goff, Goff looked out. Goff didn't look the same, bro. I like. I actually wonder if any of that is actually attributed to his style of play the rest of that game. But yeah, he's the only one I think I'm actually nervous about with this game, to be completely honest with you. The Commanders, I think they've look. We said at the beginning of the season, this is going to be a great team. Like I actually love the moves that they made on paper. Anyway, I had high hopes for them. I didn't think they were getting this far, but I had high hopes for their future. And I got nothing but respect for them, to be honest with you. I think I will say though, the one thing that I think has to be um, paid attention to in this matchup is the fact that they lost their I think right tackle um, to ACL tear, and I forgot who their backup is, but my God, like
Call
having a
Jason Peters.
bro, yeah. Having a backup against this defensive line is going to be atrocious
Yeah.
for them, and I really do think that some of the pressure that Jaden, I think he felt some pressure in the first two matchups for sure. I believe he did, but I think it's going to be amped up even more. And I think that just from that alone is going to I think it's going to throw off a little bit of his rhythm. Um, so that's the matchup that I'm looking at. I'm really like I'm starting to pay more attention to both offensive and defensive line matchups when I'm watching or when I'm paying attention to the games. And that's the one element that I think is going to be that's going to be prominent in this game on Sunday. Um, Jaden Daniels is doing a great job, though. You can't take anything away from him. I will say though, I am very disgusted with how people are talking about him though, and it's not because of jealousy or anything like that. Y'all got this guy at top 5, top 3 in the league, like, as a rookie, and that type of I can't heap that type of praise on a rookie. I don't care who it is. Saying that they're top 5, top 3 at their position already, like, no, no, you
Didn't we
that's
do
got
this last year?
yeah, that's what I'm
Shout out
saying,
my
like,
guy CJ Stroud.
stop doing this. Stop doing this because I feel like people are doing a disservice to these athletes when they do that. Allow them to grow into who they are, right? Or who they will be. Like, give them 2 to 3 years to kind of get into a rhythm. And then after that, we can have that discussion. I don't mind putting him at top 3, top 5 if that's so warranted in 3 years, 2 or 3 years. But come on now. Like, after one season, this is what we're gonna do. I- We can say he's had the greatest rookie season of all time for a QB. We can say that. I'm okay with that. But the idea that you're placing him so high right now is that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Like, I don't want to see people give so much praise to someone and then the very next year tear them down. That's what I think annoys me the most when I see stuff like this. So, like, much respect to Jaden Daniels. I am a fan of his. They do not have enough to get this done. They don't. They don't. And I think, people keep saying, hey, they won that second matchup. You do know we were like a Devontae Smith drop away from winning that game, right?
Mhm.
We lost by 3 points with Jalen Hurts out
I was about to say,
11
and
plays
also
into the game.
super banned up. Shout out Tanner McKee.
Yes. Come on. Like, let's put some context to it. Let's put context to it. I do think this is going to be a fun matchup. But I don't see the Eagles losing this one. I don't see Washington's defense holding that run game to anything. I keep hearing about people talking about saying, gotta stack the box. Everybody has loaded that box up, and guess what? It's been destroyed. It's been destroyed, man. I like you can't stop that run game. It's impossible. It's physically been impossible this year to stop that run game. So
Yeah, you want to talk about historic seasons? Why don't we talk about Saquon? Right? Why are
yeah,
we
yeah,
talking about
yeah.
what the hell Jaden Daniels is doing?
Like, I mean, I think both can be true at the same time, but let's pump the brakes on 1 year player.
Hey,
We've
I'm
seen
not gonna
flashes in
lie
the pan.
though. Yeah, there can be flashes in the pan,
Yeah.
100%. I think even before this playoff run, though, the tape shows that level, right?
Hmm.
But once again,
Yeah.
making that anointment is a completely different discussion. So I agree
Right.
with you.
We can acknowledge the potential is there. We can say, hey, look, this guy could potentially be one of the greatest. He could.
Yep.
He could. We don't need to say all that right now in terms of him being the like one of the best. And I've already seen people anoint him the best in the NFC, best QB in the NFC, and all this other stuff. And it's like, all right, come on.
Real quick, this is entirely not sports related, but I had to share this with you because I found it to be hilarious. There was a video of Magic Johnson celebrating, right? The
Uh-huh.
the win, and they were like, it was captioned like, "Oh, minority owner Magic Johnson celebrates his after 1 year." Like it was hyping up the situation, and the
Mhm.
first comment you see is like, "Why they gotta make everything about race?" And as soon as I saw that, bro, I'm like, "Damn, y'all motherfuckers need to read just a little bit." You know what I'm
Hey
saying?
man,
Just a
look.
little bit. Minority owner. That is by definition what he is, ladies and gentlemen. It is not about.
Jesus Christ, help us. We are so screwed.
But
That's
real quick,
hilarious though.
jumping back to the game, right? As a Ravens fan, I think it's only right for me to say I am going with the Eagles here. I'm like you. I see. all the scenarios in which the Eagles come out on top in this game. But if there's anything I have to say as far as what this needs to be, what this game needs to have happen for
Hmm.
you guys to win, is to fucking secure the ball and make sure y'all look good in that way. And I think
Yep. Yep.
there's
Yep.
a lot of talk, obviously, after the lack thereof of people saying that, hey, Jalen Hurts should have done this last week, or Jalen Hurts should have done that last week. And people were saying the same thing about Josh Allen. Well, hey, none of that shit matters when you won. So at the end of the day,
Yeah.
I'm not concerned in that way, but I will say if anything is going to be the difference maker in this game is if you guys either get down, these are two very easy scenarios to imagine, right? But if you guys either get down big early or it's a one score game late. Those are
Hmm.
the two scenarios that I see danger. Besides that, I think ultimately this is going to be a high scoring game. I think defense is going to be the deciding factor, but I don't think it's going to be the deciding factor early. I think that's going to be late. But yeah, give me the Eagles at home, man. I think this is a perfect spot for y'all to find yourselves across from a AFC that has just been absolutely going to war.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's another really interesting spot to be in too. But I can't overlook the task. You got a big game this week, but a big
Yes,
game
sir.
that's in your favor. Give me the
Yes, sir.
Eagles, man. So we're double eagled up in the
Yes, sir.
AFC. It's only right that I let the people know before we continue our playoff records. So
Oh yeah.
as of last week, you and I both went 2-2, which brings me to 4-6, and you to 5-5. So holy, don't listen to us when it comes to the playoffs. Just kidding. Just a lot of crazy shit going on, ladies and gentlemen. You can't say that there hasn't been, but
Yes, sir.
um, don't see that happening in this game. Next up, we move on to our final game, our final discussion before the Super Bowl. God damn it. We got the
Yeah.
Buffalo
Wow.
Bills going up against the Kansas City Chiefs at 6:30 on a Sunday.
Yes, sir.
God damn, I'm gonna lead the discussion on this one because I'm excited for this game and I can't
Yes, sir.
contain myself, Derek. So, first of all, after playing this team firsthand, the biggest thing that surprised me is that fucking two tight end set they run,
Yeah.
which
Yeah. Yeah.
is with
Yeah.
the jumbo package. And obviously, that's something they ran a lot during the season as well. But the amount of times they leaned on that in this
Hmm.
game, I think is going to be huge against the Chiefs because we saw that when they matched up in the regular season, that their run game really did a big toll on them, but also just in general, right? The run game is going to be solid. Joe Mixon was eating last week.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different ways in which they could take advantage of them there. Now, I love that they got Ray Davis going against us. I think
Hmm.
having that 1-2 punch in a scenario like this is great because it is literally the opposite of what the Chiefs have on offense right now. Isaiah
Yeah.
Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, although I could argue are peaking right now as far as
Hmm.
their ability to play, they're Pacheco's still really banged up and dealing with all the things he's coming back from this season. And Kareem Hunt, honestly, has been really serviceable as that bruising, late down, touchdown kind of back.
Hmm.
But they don't have an actual run game. It's kind of like a passing game that leads to scenarios where you get rushing
Yeah.
touchdowns, right?
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
a running game. And
Yeah.
I think in most scenarios, I would like to have Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball out there, right? But playoff football, baby, becomes a little bit more important to be able to move the sticks in that way specifically.
Hmm.
Look for Patrick Mahomes to probably have over 40 yards rushing. I think his legs, particularly, has been a big weapon against the Bills for the last 4 years.
Hmm.
It's going to be about containing him, right? Keeping a spy and doing all those things. I think you're in the best position to do that after working against our team last week. So once again, synergy. They put themselves in a good position to be at this game right now. I also think the Bills held a lot out of their playoff playbook last week
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you mentioned the offensive play calling on our side. I agree with you generally. We got to get the ball in Derrick Henry's hands. The guy's a game changer, but they put us in a position where we couldn't, right? We
Yeah.
couldn't go out there and run the ball because we were at such a deficit. So
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the key, right? The game script. How do we end up in this game? And I think the best case scenario for the Chiefs is to get the ball Second, I think they believe in their defense as much as their offense at this stage.
Mhm,
I think if I'm the Bills, fucking take it. Let's go. Give it to me now, and we'll figure it out later, like they did against us.
mhm,
Get going often, put them at a deficit early so that you can run the ball. Put
mhm.
yourself in a position to run the ball, and you win this game, in my opinion.
Yes.
But I say all this to say I'm picking the Kansas City Chiefs, Derek. I think there is a 12th man that's going to be on the field that is going to be too important and too crucial to this game. There
Yeah.
was a moment as well in the media leading up to this game where Mahomes addressed this situation. He's like,
Yeah.
it's fucking ridiculous. And of course, you would say that,
Yeah.
but
Why would you not say that?
yeah, it
Why
has.
would you say anything else?
Yeah, it hasn't. You cannot say it hasn't been egregious, bro.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
probably going to continue that way. I'm not actually picking them though off the strength of, hey, they're going to get fucked. That's not how I look at it. I think ultimately the Chiefs are very solid and they're here because of who they got, right? And I think ultimately Patrick Mahomes still is that guy, regardless of who is out there catching the ball for them.
Yeah.
I think if I would feel a lot more confident about picking the Chiefs right now, though, if they showed a little bit more offensive versatility against the Texans. That was another game where I felt the Texans really outplayed them.
They
But
did.
because of the key moments in the game, once again, they ended up on the other side of things. So I think ultimately Kansas City has really got their backs up against the wall. They're in a position where they should not be favored to win this game, in my opinion, despite playing at home.
Mhm.
And I'm still picking them to pull it off, man. I just think, once again, we're gonna see a rematch in the Super Bowl. But who you got, Derek?
I am going to just go for it. I think the Bills are going to win this game. And one of the biggest reasons why I think I can say that is, well, two reasons. One, the Chiefs have not been playing like the Chiefs. Like, I think against the Texans, you saw them getting a little bit more, yeah, especially out of Kelsey. Um, but that's one. Two, I feel like Josh Allen got over the hump that we were expecting him to crash into toward the end of the season, right? Mid to late season, and then going into the playoffs. I think they're going to end up running a similar style to what they did against you guys in terms of Josh is not throwing a ton of targets and they rely on the run game. I think that they're better on defense, to be honest with you, because I think they're a little faster. They can surprise you a little more, and I think that their pass rush is really is very interesting. I'm actually intrigued by what they've done on defense. Um, their run game, I think, is the thing that I always thought was going to be the determining factor for them in games. And in years past, they had not leaned on that run game. This year, I feel like they finally adjusted where they're not just running the ball at like a balanced rate, but you're also not turning over the ball either. As much we're used to Josh Allen turning the ball over a little more, and that he's protected the ball. I actually see more of a similar style between the Bills and Eagles in terms of how they're approaching the game right now, right? And being a little more conservative with the pass game, not because you can't throw the ball, but because the game does not call for you to throw the ball. I think that's one of the things that people are not picking up on. I like that's a trend we've started to see a lot in these playoffs is that the quarterbacks, or at least the quarterbacks for the teams that win the game, have not thrown it as much as the other team. And that's the one thing that I think is going to be very intriguing in this game. I don't think that I can sit here and say, oh, it's over for the Chiefs in terms of like the dynasty and all of this stuff. And I'm not I, like you don't typically like bet against. Patrick Mahomes, right? And because of everything that's going on with the referees, I don't know how you don't see that at all. Like not you, but how anyone cannot see how egregious these calls are. Like when you have what was it, Troy Aikman on the call and was just like going off. Like I believe that is made such a noise that they have to tone it down. And if you're toning it down, if you're toning it down in the AFC Championship, I feel like that's where the Bills are going to be able to sneak in those moments. On top of the fact that they just have a better offense. They just have a better offense. So I'm going to choose the Bills. I like. I know it. I, Bro, I am fatigued by the Chiefs. I will admit it. I'm fatigued by them. I'm fatigued from seeing Taylor Swift every 2 seconds. I'm tired of seeing red. I'm tired of the Chiefs, right? I can admit that. But my pick for this game has nothing to do with that. Like I genuinely look at this team and I feel like the Bills are just different right now. I feel like they have finally got past the thing that was holding them back, which was the lack of a running game, and then also Josh Allen just like not making specifically the right decision in certain moments. Like you saw in that game against you guys, he almost pitched the ball back on what was that, like either first or second on a goal or something like that. He almost pitched the ball back, and that would have caused a turnover, right? Or likelihood of a turnover would have been higher in that moment. And he held it. He went to do it, and then he kind of like let me not do that. I think there's those type of decisions. I think that's what was limiting them years past, and the fact that he's been able to adjust and play the way he needs to play to win a game. I think that's what's going to dictate this game.
Yeah, shout out to James Cook, right? It's something in the bloodline because that
Bro.
that man looked phenomenal last week, right?
Yes.
Like I did a pretty good amount of scouting for that game. I was like, yeah, this motherfucker rose to the occasion, right? Like we
Yeah.
saw flashes of this, but he was
Yeah.
finding holes out there looking like his brother, god damn it. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. This is I all the reasons we spoke about lean towards the Bills too, man. I just think
I know.
this is a team that has defied logic for 4 years.
I know. I know. And I'm like, bro, part of me feels it too. Like I shouldn't be choosing the Bills, but I'm just gonna just throw it out there and say because I've been wanting to see the Eagles. Like Jonathan and I have been talking about the Eagles Bills Super Bowl for the last 6 years, 5 6 years. We've been talking about that possibility. And then you and I have been talking about the possibility of the Eagles Ravens since we met. Like, I would love to see both of those matchups. And I think that we have the recipe right now to see the possibility of both of those matchups happening in the next few years. So right now I'm going Eagles, Bills in the Super Bowl this year. As much as I want to see the Eagles Ravens, you know,
I'm excited, bro. Something
yes,
that good luck trying to find someone that picked that formation coming into this year to win the fucking
yeah,
Super Bowl. But
yeah,
dude, I can't wait to see how this one plays out. It's funny because you would think, right, the wild card weekend, this is the most playoff football we're gonna get. But every week it's like,
yeah,
man, I need these matchups injected into my veins more and more.
yes,
So
yes,
could not be more excited for both of these championship games. The storylines, obviously, the AFC one, this is a rivalry that's been built over the last 5 years. The NFC side of it, this is a rivalry that's laid dormant, right? That just
yes,
stormed onto the scene now. And obviously, this undeniable young team, this young phenom. There's just so much that reporters and people like us, so many storylines we could just eat up on this one. So we got a lot to look forward to this championship week. Before we get out of here, Derek, why don't you remind the people where we could get all this amazing shit you got going right now, Derek?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If you want to follow me personally, you can follow me at Derrick underscore OTS. That's DERRICK, the black way to spell it. Um, I'll let you do the closing. I don't want to take that over. But yeah,
I love it.
follow me on there
I
if you
love it.
want.
Make sure you're following the man, but make sure you're following the brand at OTS Media Co. on all social media platforms, OTS Media on YouTube, so you never miss all of our awesome coverage we got coming to you guys. Follow me and Negrón MMA on all the places that you give a fuck about.
Yes, sir.
But, ladies and gentlemen, we done did it again. We done delivered another classic your way.
Yes, sir.
Championship weekend. I'm feeling like a goddamn depressed motherfucker. But hey, guess what? I got a lot to look forward to for you, Derek. So for that, I will persist. For that, I will see tomorrow. And until next week, ladies and gentlemen, just remember that no matter how bad you feel, right? No matter how low you get, at least you ain't lose knowing that you should have fucking won. We'll see you all next week. Peace.